Have you ever seen a military unit snap to intention and move like clockwork? This and filmmaking actually have a lot more in common than you might think. But why does it take 50 people to shoot one simple scene? Let's find out. Today we're going to be unpacking why film sets are so packed and why that's not just normal, but actually necessary. And by the end of this video, you'll understand what those people are doing and how one simple scene can take hours to execute, and also how to build your own tight, efficient crew, even on an indie budget. If you ever felt overwhelmed walking on a set, or you're frustrated trying to do it all yourself, this video is going to help you make sense of everything. So why is a film set packed just to shoot one simple scene? Because even the simplest moments, like someone walking into a room and saying one line, it can take hours to pull off. And it's not because people are slow, but because every step matters. Everything has a purpose. And here's how I'll explain it. Do you know that making a movie scene is a lot like running a military operation? You see, in a military operation, you got recon, right? You got comms, you got boots on the ground. Like, everyone's got a specific role. And if one person slips, that whole mission will get compromised. You wouldn't send a team into a compound without intel, right? And you wouldn't advance without the proper coordination. On a film set, it's the same exact rhythm. It's the same exact thing. There's a sequence, 5 phases that actually happen every single time. And the 5 phases are blocking, lighting, rehearsing, tweaking, shooting. If one of those actually breaks down, time gets wasted, quality drops, and sometimes the entire scene can be scrapped. That's why a film set can feel crowded. They're not just shooting a simple scene, they're actually executing a mission. So when you see 30 people on set, now you actually know, right? They're not just standing around. Each one is solving a problem, preventing a delay, or protecting the quality of the image and sound. And you know, where this actually really clicked for me wasn't on a film set, but actually in uniform. For those of you that don't know my background, I served in the Army for 14 years. And you know, the first time I actually stepped onto a big film set, I felt something familiar. It was actually the closest thing I felt to being back in formation or back in uniform, right? There's structure and a chain of command. Like, everyone has a specific job and everyone else depends on them to do it right. And if they don't, what happens? Well, chaos breaks out, right? Filmmaking is a lot like a military operation. It isn't about being the hero, it's about the team, the structure, the flow. And that's not just a metaphor, it's real. Tight timelines, tricky locations, limited light sources. You know, one miscommunication can set you back hours. Now, don't really necessarily need a 30-person crew to make a great movie. Like, as you guys seen the film set that we've just did with Mia, I shot it solo with one other person. And it's like, you can shoot with 5 people or less, and you know, I've gotten away with it even with one light. So yes, you can scale everything down, but the structure and that process, that's what really matters. And here's how it works. Step 1, you're gonna think of blocking. So what is blocking? Well, blocking is where the director and the actors figure out the movement. The DP and the AD will map out the whole camera path. You know, blocking, it gives that blueprint. Step 2 is lighting. The gaffer and the grip will shape the mood, like lighting faces. Yes, that's one of them, but it's more difficult than lighting just the faces, right? You're not lighting for faces, you're lighting for emotion. And lighting for emotion will take time, and it will take trained eyes to do so. So light for emotion, not the faces. Step 3 is rehearsal. And these rehearsals are like full performances, and they're not made just for the actors. They're also made for the sound department and the camera, the dolly, the boom, the focusing, you know, everything. Everyone locks in their timing for this. And then we got tweaking, which is our next step. And tweaking is like the shadows, the noises, any props out of place, you know, the final polishes is what it really is. And it just saves a lot more takes, and it saves you time, right? But then we have step 5, which is shooting, and the AD will call it out.
Camera ready? Oh, be careful.
Audio?
Rolling.
Emily? You good? Slate?
You just hope that it all goes smooth. But even if it does, you'll probably shoot it again and again and again because coverage is your safety net and you'll probably get like several different angles, right? So yeah, it takes a lot of people, but it's not overkill. It's a system. It's a flow. And that's why I started Light and Size Cinema and built a nonprofit, because I know I'm not the only one. Other veterans, other people in transition, they're searching for meaning. They're searching for purpose. And I just want to pass that torch along and teach what I've learned and help others find their spark. Now, let me tell you about a set that reminded me why I do this, and that is Myra's Last Hope. And this set we shot last year, and it was one of the greatest sets that I remember. I love this set. You see, we had nearly 100-man cast and crew on this production. And from pre-production, I actually told everyone this won't be just another shoot. I wanted it to feel like a family, like I treat every film set. I want everything to be like a family reunion. So we planned actually something unheard of on this film set, and that is a scavenger hunt. Did you guys ever do a scavenger hunt on a film set? Yeah, I know. It's a little unheard of, but it's so much fun and it builds so much camaraderie, right? So I had our set dresser hide clues under props, and each one had a piece of a single Bible verse. And the actors and the crew and all the background talent, like everyone could actually participate in this scavenger hunt, you know, when we were not working, of course. But the mission was to find and assemble the Bible verse, and the first one to do it would win. And it was day 2, right before our lunch break. A 10-year-old background talent came up to me and she had the full verse. It melted my heart. I was like, yes, a kid got this. It was like the best thing ever. Anyway, at lunch, we gathered the crew up for a huddle, and, you know, we called her out and I handed her a $100 bill, and boy, wow. You should have seen her face light up. It was absolutely precious. Like a moment that you could never get back, right? It was one of those memories that's meant to be cherished. It was in that moment we weren't just a crew, right? We were a community, and that's what really means the most. And that's what a real set should feel like, right? It should feel safe. It should feel connected. It should feel fun and intentional. And you know, the best thing about that whole set was that I had so many people come up to me, even to this day, telling me how this set sparked them to get into the industry. There were so many people that was like the first time they've ever stepped on a set, and it was just something that built them and wanted them to keep going. And actually, one of the actors on there, he's actually our board member on our nonprofit now, and it was his first time acting, and I just gave him a little direction on where to go when it came to acting, and he just took off like lightning, and now he's loving it. And now he's like a full-time Santa for everything, and it's absolutely incredible. So the link to that film is right here. And you know, if you guys got time, check it out. It was such a fun little short film to put together. So anyway, if you guys are building your own team or stepping onto your first real set, here's what to remember, and some things that I steer clear of. But you know, if we're in a pinch, then this actually helps, and that's combining the roles. But you better be able to communicate with the departments and tell them what roles they're going to be doing. Like if the gaffer is going to be also the AC, or if the gaffer is going to be also the grip, you know, they just need to know what they're handling. And the other thing I can say is prep like crazy. And that means shot lists, diagrams, floor plans, like whatever keeps you ahead 2 times, you need to do it. And I go over that in some of my previous videos, so I encourage you guys to look over Mia, because that will give you some more insight on the pre-production. And then we got to remember to rehearse, and this is actually the biggest one, and I'm actually starting to implement this onto my future productions, where we're going to rehearse a day prior to when the crew arrives, because that way we can work through the blocking and the emotion without 20 or 30 people's eyes watching. And I think that's important. You know, you want to keep it closed, so that way the actors can get comfortable and get in their space, right? And then the other one I could tell you is to know your priorities. Maybe you don't need a full camera team, but someone better be watching continuity and someone better be handling sound, right? Because sound is the most important thing. And above all, respect the process. Whether this is going to be a 90-second short film or a 90-minute feature film, you know, the movie industry is a team sport. And when it works, it's magic, right? And that's why they call it movie magic. It's not because you're, you know, trying to manipulate a scene that doesn't exist. It's also, you know, creating something, creating a process through it and making it work. So yeah, film sets are packed, and now you know why. They're not bloated. They're orchestrated. Like, every person protects the story and it keeps the production moving. And whether you got 40 people or even 4 people on your set, your mission will stay the same. And what is your mission? Well, tell the best story that you can with clarity, intention, and teamwork, okay? And here's the good news. Once you understand how these roles work together, you can actually adapt them, like build a crew that fits your budget, your vision, your workflow. So the next time you walk onto a set that looks like a small village formed overnight, don't get overwhelmed. Just ask questions, learn names. The more you understand, the smoother your set will run. Because yeah, it takes a village to make a movie. But if you build your village right, you can make something incredible. And if you guys love filmmaking or want to be on a set that feels like a mission with meaning, well, stick around. We're just getting started. And as always, practice and create.